festivities down here in Hall B. So I'd like to introduce to you Wendy Zeng, who will be presenting to you on growing into universal consciousness, and there's a colon, as all the titles should have. I'm sorry, no, take two. Wendy Zeng is presenting on point A and B practices for growing into universal consciousness, a phenomenological study. Give you Wendy.
Thank you very much. I just want to first express my gratitude to have this gathering and with everybody and have this opportunity to share some of the work and things that I've done. So this presentation has to do with transformation, as almost everybody else is doing, and the focus of this study is on a particular two particular practices called point A and point B practices. It's a meditative method that helps a person to grow into the transpersonal realm. So I'll start by talking about some background. So my plan is that I think maybe the first half of the presentation, I'll give some background of what they are and how that has to do with meditation and changes. And the second part, I'll be presenting the results of the study, where I interview a number of people and get their personal experiences. So, the point A and point B practice is really, it is not, I guess you can call that a sort of meditation, but it is a sort of a preamble or preparatory step for meditation, especially point B. So for meditation, just a little bit of background, that the goal of meditation is generally, people think that it's, it is to transform people's mind. And what does that mean? That means really it's a sort of a balancing of the mind and making the mind more balanced, more free. Another way of thinking about transformation of consciousness can be going beyond our boundaries, and that can include our mental boundaries, what we think as, beyond our normal way of thinking, or it can be a transcendence over, our ego. So another way of putting that, it can be also seen as having a type of higher consciousness, like a transpersonal type of consciousness, or transpersonal or super consciousness. So how does it work? Is that this is a quote actually. It is a truth that one becomes what one contemplates. So depending on what we focus our mind on, we start to imbibe the characteristic of that thing. So suppose we focus our mind on loving kindness, then in a way the mind, because of the concentrating on that particular thought, it starts to imbibe certain characteristic or essence of that idea. So it becomes like that. So in a way, meditation works that way, because meditation means you focus, or your mind is rest on a particular object, whether that's an idea, or it is a feeling, or it is actually a physical object. So that is the background of meditation. So, but the reason I am doing this study on point A and point B is because meditation is not so easy. Often meditation, when people want to meditate, they find there's a lot of thoughts. So instead of meditating the object, suppose it's an idea, instead I will be thinking, okay, I have a deadline tomorrow, or what I'll be doing tonight with my friends, or other than what I am supposed to meditate on, I'll be thinking just about that. So that is a hindrance to meditation. So basically during the period, that period, people generally meditators, they experience influx of thoughts, and these thoughts interfere with their constant attention. So a lot of effort needs to be spent to basically to moderate those thoughts and to throw out those thoughts. So they want to meditate, but they seem to be having a lot of difficulties. So this is how I want to introduce a point A and point B practice. So as a solution. So in a system called natural path, the founder of this, Sri Ramchandra, he discovered two psychic points in the human frame. And he called it point A and point B. By cleaning these 2 points, it is able to check the influx of unwanted thoughts that prevent one from meditating on one's object. So the claim, I'll just state the claim and then I'll go on to explain what is the method. So the claim is that by meditating on point B, one is capable of bringing sensual urges or desires, which are the greatest obstacles for meditators, to a level of balance and moderation. And point A enables a person to develop universal love and fraternity. So this study explores the experiences of practicing these two methods. And each of them is a 10-minute practice. So what is point A and point B? Point A and point B, these are psychic points. So it has like a direct physical corresponding location on the chest. So it's from the left nipple, like 2 fingers to the right, and then 3 fingers down. That is called point A. And then 2 more fingers is point B. So once people locate these 2 points, they will focus on those points and think a particular thought on those. So a psychic point, so for point B, so the purpose is to lessen the intensity of desires and bring urges to a level of balance. So the method is that they hold a thought at that particular point. So they imagine that all the impurities and grossness are going out from point B towards the front side, and the glow of true self is coming into view. So they first use their thought. So I guess the thought first goes to that particular point, and then they think that the glow of their true self is coming into view, and all the impurities are going out from that point. So the method is that they do that for 10 minutes. As for point A, this is for developing universal fraternity and moderation, and checking indulgences of the mind and improprieties of conduct. So the method is that they hold a point, they fix their attention on point A, and think that all men and women in the world are their own brothers and sisters. And they hold that thought for 10 minutes. Okay, so that is the background of the practices for which I am interviewing people on. In terms of methods and methodology and data collection, I apply phenomenological research method for this, and specifically I apply the interpretive phenomenological analysis in terms of analyzing the data. So the way I structure the questionnaire is that they're semi-structured, so there's a part of open-ended questions. So I ask them basically daily, these meditators, they are doing the 10 minutes of point A and 10 minutes of point B. So what is your experiences? How do you experience point A and point B? So that is the first part of my questionnaire. And then in the second part of questionnaire, I go into detail of a particular detailed questions of exactly what do they find, what are these experiences, do you feel this? So I have more detailed sets in the second part. And so one part of it is how they experience the practice. The second part is that over the period of their practice, what changes do they observe in themselves? So now I'm going to go more into the participants and the results. So I recruited 9 people, and these are practitioners of natural path, 2 women and 7 men, and they are from Bay Area just because of convenience. Easier to talk to them and interview them. The average age is about 39 years old with a standard deviation of 6 years. So they're roughly, between their early 30s to a little bit above their 40s. They have been practicing this particular natural path for about 3 years with a standard deviation of 2 years. So really they range from a half-year practice to about 5.5 years of practice. They all have higher level, undergraduate level of education or above. Ethnicity includes they are Asian and also Caucasian. They're all professionals. So now I'll talk about the results. Actually one word. Before, the way I craft my questionnaire is that before they start the practice of point B, which is a preparation for their meditation, I ask how do you feel before you do start a practice, and then after they finish 10 minutes of practice, how do you feel after that? They are supposed to self-record that in the questionnaire. So this is a result that I found. So before they start a point B, I kind of grouped them into a general negative versus, sort of negative versus positive state of mind. So in the lighter lighter pie area is that the not so good feeling is that generally they find a lot of mundane thoughts, discursive thoughts that are flowing about their daily planning. Lethargic dullness or tiredness is there. Some general feeling of disinclination. So some other feeling included, anxiety and some agitation. Some of them start out fairly good, positive. 40% is positive. So the positive includes, they don't have much thoughts. They feel just normal or settled. Some of them actually want to do the meditation or start this point B, and they feel calm and composed. So there's a mixture of half of positive and negative. After they do 10 minutes of point B, where they hold the thought that their inner true self the glow of that is coming into view, so the general feeling turned into much more positive. So from a sort of a 40% positive to growing into a predominantly positive feeling. So these positive states includes the calmness, and they feel something new is that they feel a sense of lightness and clean, like purity. And they also reported, so these are extracts of their words, basically, the key words that they use. They feel settled. Some of them feel energy flow. They reported that they lost a lot of agitated thoughts. They feel confident, and thoughts have slowed down. And some coolness. And I think maybe one or two people reported they feel like they are closer to divine. So that's for the experience part of point B. As for the results of point A, where they think all men and women are brothers and sisters, generally the feeling is mostly positive, it's pretty much all positive. And some of the themes they reported is that they feel happiness, calm and quiet again. They feel a love towards all, less thoughts, more in a prayerful mood, and they feel the warmth in the heart, light, balance, competitive thinking subsided, and becoming more neutral and even. So as far as experiences, how they experience this is what they reported. In terms of overall transformation over the period of their practice, whether it's half year to 5.5 years, how do they find changes in themselves? So this is where I give more specific pointers, and I ask them. I craft a list of questions, and I ask them each of those characteristics, and they would elaborately answer. So, and I'm presenting part of the result, but not all of it, because the questionnaire was really long. So, one question is, do you feel improvement in the moderation of desire? All of them said yes. And they reported, for example, they found reductions in excessive materialistic indulgences, the tendency to hoard, obsession, or deep attachment with wealth, property, family, and children. They also found reduction in ego-related stuff like desires for fame and name, ambitions, generally career ambitions, self-aggrandizement or self-progress, less self-centered and less expectation from their own actions. And because of these reductions in these areas, it leads them to more moderation in their life. Another question is, do you feel like you have grip over or control over the lower tendencies of the mind? They said yes. they all say yes. They report that there's increased awareness. First of all, they become aware of their thought processes in such a way that they observe their lower mind thoughts and impulses which are not perceptible to them before. So it makes it easier for them to ignore. In terms of decision making, they give more careful thoughts of consequences. They will think through things better, and how their action could affect other people. They find reduction in greed, envy, jealousy, or lust, feeling of anger, or comparing with other people, and competition. Also, they feel like they need less external stimulation, like, for example, mind-altering substances. A lot of them reported like movies or a lot of stimulation of mind and also body. So more example of that is that they feel that person have slowed down overall and become less impulsive, and they see things with more clear purposes. They become more disciplined. They want to cultivate healthier habits, and they become more sharing and more patient, more contentment and acceptance, and less self-centered. So depending on the time, so I'll just go through some of these questions. In terms of concord, they find they have more feeling of harmony with other people, and there's more warmth and openness to other people, more tolerance, less internal conflicts. So most of them said yes. There are some of them who did not really see perceptible. Majority don't see some changes in this aspect. Do you feel improvement of kindness? They all of them said reported yes. They in thought. So there are different levels in thought, in feeling, in how they behave. They don't think mean of others anymore so much. In feeling, they feel like there's a lot of mellowness in the heart, and they said point A is what that really helps them to feel that mellowness in the heart, and they feel care, concern, compassion towards others and other forms of existence, and not just human beings. In terms of behavior, they will start help family and other people, patiently listening to their difficulties. There's more charity and lending helping hand whenever is needed. Actually, they said that they started to look for such opportunities, which they did not really want to before. And more consideration for other people. Do you feel improvement in empathy and sympathy? Majority of them said yes. Other people, they reported other people's distress and suffering invoke a deep feeling of sympathy in them, and they start also offering prayer for other people. Yes. Okay, so given the shortened time, improvement of fraternity. Yeah, so in terms of fraternity or fraternal feelings, they see different people not so different. That's one feeling they reported, and there's a connectedness, and that makes their daily life action change and try to help other people. So the next set of questions is related to truthfulness. This is where I find kind of interesting that the desire for becoming truthful becomes more, and this truthful, they say that several people said that it is first truthful to one's own self, that is makes them more, they care more. It is that they are able to face their own lower thoughts or thoughts that are not so great, instead of justifying them. And from there, then they try to be true to the external. Non-injury. So this again, the injury, they found that in thought level, they try not to harbor bad thoughts towards other people. Stealing. This in terms of possessiveness, majority of them said they see some sort of improvement. In the spiritually speaking, there's more contentment. They start to feel that everyone deserves what they work for, and there's no need to possess, and just try to be happy. So I think I'll go to conclusion. So my conclusion is that for the point B practice, it seems that the positive state of mind increases from a lower percentage to a much, much higher percentage after 10 minutes of point B. While point A is thinking that all men and women are brothers and sisters, the positive state of mind is predominant after that practice. So some of the major effect I'm listing here is, again, the peace, calm, quiet, and loss of agitated thoughts, but more, and also there's warmth in the heart, light, happy, and balanced. And in terms of the transformation they experience, there's moderation desires, more control over the lower mind, more empathy, sympathy, friendliness and kindness, and also there's improvement in terms of the being truthful, not hurting others, not possessing, and being more in tune with nature. That particular piece I actually did not put it here, but they say that they're more tuned to nature in general, the cosmos. There's a feeling of a rhythm in them. So that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm wondering if you would feel comfortable saying a little bit more about what attracted you to this particular practice.
Well, what attracted me initially and what attracted me I guess as a personal note, I have been sort of practicing this path for about like 5 years now. What attracted me initially when I first got exposed to it is because I thought it can give me enlightenment, and they say it can, and I've not met a person who said I can enlighten you. So that's what attracted me initially. And later on, as I practice, I feel a lot of changes in myself. So that is what also motivated me along the way. And because the shift is very drastic for me, and it's a continuous shift. So after, and this happens like every 3 months, 6 months, like that. And it was never boring, so that was also what motivated me to.
This is a daily practice?
It's a daily practice, a set of daily meditative practice, and I previously presented, there's another part to the practice is a transmission which helps to facilitate or as a catalyst to make the change faster. That piece I presented maybe in another conference some time ago. So there's the individual practice, there's some part of it taking some help from another person.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the foundations of this practice? There's the philosophical foundations or the creator of this practice. To know a little bit more.
Foundation in terms of philosophy or in terms of
who was the creator and upon which other teachings he or she supports these
Sure.
points?
So, the teacher who originally came up with these discovering the psychic points, his name is Sri Ramchandra. He lived from 1899 to 1983. So he found this method. He kind of just sort of teach it to whoever wants to come to them, and later on, other people started to propagate the method. It is a rajayoga practice in the sense that the basis of that is a set of meditative techniques. So, for example, these two is a part of that practice. So the rest of it will have a formal meditation, which I did not talk about. It's not part of this particular study. What can I say? I I think the sort of the principle or some of the principles behind this practice actually ties into what Bill was presenting in the earlier, that everything is consciousness, whether it is in a very subtle state, very subtle energetic state, or in a grosser state, in the physical objects. So this vibration or this energy can transform, and by depending using and thought, it is a form of vibration. Thought is a form of very subtle energy. So using one's own mind or one's own thought, by holding a very higher level of thought, that energy itself can transform one's mind. That's some of the stuff that I personally sort of understand, but I feel, I don't know if I'm actually addressing your question. Yeah, you and you please, yeah. Okay. Sure, you and I.
So the people who participate in the study, you said you're doing it either from 6 months to
5.5
Yeah.
years, yeah.
So I'm not expert on meditation, but I just want to know, doesn't it mean that if someone who is doing it for a long time, that he gets these results, whatever meditation he's doing it, because he's already, they are not new people to the program, these are people who are already doing it. And like if you compare to other meditations that people keep going to, is it the same thing because they are there already, or like what would be the difference if you check people who just started who are not familiar with it? Do you understand?
Okay. So my understanding is that I think you may be saying that over a long period of practice, all practices will offer very good results, and how this will compare to that, is that the question?
Yes, like if you keep going there,
Yes.
maybe it means that for you it's making these kind of results. So I was wondering
I
if you,
personally have not
what are your
done-
thoughts about it?
I personally have not done a comparative study, among different meditative systems, and every system, has their own advantage. Without doing that kind of study, it's really hard to say, what it really means. And a lot of things also depends on a particular type of method too, because different method leads to different results. So there has been some study done with people who, not just first day doing this practice, but maybe like just by going through their courses, their experiences. Some of that is online. But beyond that, I can't really say, whether after 10 years or after 20 years, whether they find this kind of results. I don't think I can really fully, because I know for Buddhist study, for example, there are different levels, how much time do people spend on level 1, level 2, level 3? Yeah, we can, okay.
Just a couple of things. I mean, there was an article last week, I think, this past week in the New York Times by Diane Ackerman about Dan Siegel's work at UCLA in neurobiology or whatever he calls it, and basically reporting on the finding that the brain rewires itself depending upon what we think about. So that's sort of good. But
I think, it does use that principle,
Yeah.
that, by what you focus on, you can make yourself feel different.
Right. Do you notice, I don't know the terminology, but, you said like 7 out of 9 people reported such and such. Did the people who saw the most benefit, had they been doing it longer? Are they closer to the ones who've been doing it for 5 years as opposed to 6 months? Did you see any difference in how, in the reporting you got that correlates to how long people have been doing it?
I would say that some of it, yes. So one example I can remember is, so for example, So for example, I feel like there are a few of them reported perhaps a deeper understanding. For me, it's a little bit deeper, that they feel a connection with the creation or existence. That I did not see in the couple first like half year or 1 year, 1.5 years of like that particular, it just popped into my mind.
I see.
Yes. Okay, to this side.
I was wondering if among some of the findings you noticed, well, one of your slides mentioned a decrease in feelings like sadness and anger. Did you also notice among the practitioners an increased capacity for integrating all feelings into their conscious life?
By integrating all feelings, you mean more accepting their own anger. Yes, I think one point that I did not go into the detail, but they are able to face their own sort of, I put it a whole category of lower tendencies of the mind, which includes their anger, their desires, they actually want this, but what they were saying is that before they were just, they don't even think about it at all. Not to even talk about accepting it, but they won't even see it. But now they are able to actually see it and accept that is part of who they are, and they try to then from there they can try to actually tackle with some of that. That's what they said. They have this shift. It seems to be that they don't. It's like a blind spot in their mind that they don't feel it before. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.